Hey guys, it's Frank and Kevin from Cruising with Wheels.
Hi everyone.
And today we're going to be talking about the top 10 common cruise mistakes.
Don't make them. So today's all about mistakes.
And you don't want to make them if you don't have to.
Especially on a cruise.
I know, which is why you should be,
Time is valuable.
Watch the video, take notes, and learn from experience.
So the first thing we want to talk about is overpacking.
Now, I want to preface a little bit before we go. We've broken every rule.
We've broken every rule.
We have. But yeah, overpacking. It is so hard not to overpack.
Well, every cruise we go on, we get less and less and less and less and less. I remember the first cruise we went on, going back into cruising. We took, I think we took a 30-inch and a 25-inch for a 5-day.
Yeah, it's like, no, we're not going to Europe for 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, but I need these pants and all these different colored shorts and all these shirts and multiple changes, all these during the day, and what about if this happens, and what about if I get hit by a chocolate fountain and I have to change my shirt yet again, or I drop some donuts on myself, or lots of ice cream falls on you. It could happen.
You're making us sound like slobs.
No, but we have learned not to have those things happen to us.
Right. And one of the ways that you can stop yourself from overpacking is choose a color palette, generally 3 colors, and make sure everything mixes, matches, and coordinates.
That's right.
And we wear things multiple times. Now, you might think that sounds gross, but we're only in some of these clothes for an hour or 2.
Yeah.
So
when you think about it, sometimes, yeah. But yeah, it's all about mixing and matching. And when you talk about, let's say, shoes we're wearing, and 1 pair of shoes to pack. That's all I take.
Yeah.
And Kevin, you usually wear what? You wear your sneakers when we travel, and then you'll have like sandals. Either pool sandals and then dress sandals.
And I know that,
that's it.
But some people, that's what they do. Like I have a few people that I do at the shop that bring a suitcase full of shoes.
Just for footwear, right?
So it's up to you, I guess.
I know. I mean, if you don't mind hauling all that luggage, and I mean, we're so worried about, is the luggage going to make it?
Let's move on from this whole luggage thing.
It's a whole luggage thing.
Let's talk about the next thing on our list, which would be not flying in a day ahead of time. Now, you all know from our vlogs that on occasion we do fly in the same day, but it's only when we are leaving from a port where, if we had to, in an emergency, like the planes weren't taking off for some reason, we could hop in a car and drive there.
Yes.
So, but we always say fly in a day ahead of time.
Always, whether it's, out of Miami, out of New Orleans, out of LA, out of Seattle, to fly in a day ahead. You don't want to be stuck with a problem of airplane mechanical issues or weather.
And you don't want to be stressed on embarkation day.
Yeah.
And that would be a major stress for us. Speaking of stress, do you know what I do when I'm stressed?
I'm afraid to ask.
A lot of times I eat, and that brings us to the next issue, which may be a mistake for you. And we think that it's a mistake to go to the buffet on embarkation day.
Yes, we have always said stay away from the buffet on embarkation day. It is cuckoo crazy, dog eat dog. It is people are pushing and shoving, and and we stay away. And and y'all know I like the buffet because I like the assortment. I like to be able to pick and choose, little this, little that, a wide assortment for my palate. But for me in a wheelchair, or anyone, scooter or walker, or anybody who doesn't have a mobility issue, that doesn't want to get battered and
I'm
bruised.
drooling just thinking about eating. But I want to say, because we've gotten questions about this, why we stay away from the buffet, and you, of course, have explained that. But when we say to stay away from the buffet, we're talking about that short period of time between the hours of noon and 4, let's say, when people are boarding the ship.
Right.
And they immediately go to that buffet.
They are beelining.
Try to find an alternative. There are plenty of them out there.
Right.
Most of the main dining rooms are open. Some of the small eating establishments like Oceans or Johnny Rockets will be open depending on the cruise line. And just check with the staff where is available to eat then. Now, by all means, if you want to eat in the buffet at dinner time on embarkation day, go for it. It won't be as crowded.
Right, but truly, it is all about safety.
Now, when you're getting there to the buffet,
that's
the next thing on our list. And that would be use the stairs if you're able. And avoid the elevators.
Yes, the elevators are going to be packed, jammed with people on embarkation day. Mostly, they will probably still have their tote bags and maybe carry-ons, and they're thinking, I am not running up and down stairs. But are you going to want to stand there forever and a day?
This is
I know, but whether it's embarkation day, disembarkation day, or during the cruise, you don't waste your time waiting.
Yeah, we always say if you have a deck or two is my rule of thumb. My rule of thumb is 2 decks. If Frank is not with me, and I only have to go up or down a 2-deck level, I will take the stairs. And sometimes I will take, if we have to do if I have to go up 6 decks, I might take it 3 and then take the elevator 3 decks and then do 3 staircases.
I thought you were going to say, I do 3 decks, then I grab an ice cream, and then I do the next 3 decks.
Well, I might do that. But
we have heard people talking at the elevators, and I remember they're just waiting and waiting until one of the young daughters said, come on, Mom and Dad, we keep missing all these elevators. They're full of people, and we're only going down 1 deck. Let's just walk down. And I'm thinking, you mean they had been standing here for 10 minutes when all they had to do is walk down 1 deck?
I don't think a lot of people realize that they can take the stairs as an option.
It's right there.
Yes, but I don't think people realize sometimes that they're there because they're in vacation mode and they're la la la, pretty ship.
Deck to deck, take the elevator.
Let's go on to the next, which is not restricting yourself to ship excursions. You can look for other options.
Right. There are a lot of other options, whether you're searching for those options from home before you set sail, or whether you decided you didn't book an excursion for a particular port and you get off the ship, and inevitably there will be a place where you can get local excursions booked. But remember, be leery if you are doing a non-ship excursion. The ship is not responsible if you show up late and you miss the boat.
And that brings me to my point, which is Frank and I always suggest that you book through the cruise ship. So the restricting yourself to ship excursions is not for the newbie cruiser. It is for the more seasoned traveler, I would say. Someone that is very cognizant of the timing.
Right.
Because if you miss, you're screwed.
If you're one of those people that would be late for your own funeral.
Don't be a dock runner.
No, please don't. Pier runners, you will be ostracized.
Right. Next on our list of cruise mistakes is not buying a bottle of wine instead of buying a glass of wine every night.
A glass here, a glass there, another glass.
We've gotten into this trap before of buying glasses of wine at dinner, thinking, well, we're not going to, why buy a bottle?
Right.
Why spend the money on that bottle?
You really think I'm really not going to drink it? You are.
You are.
You're going to drink all of it.
And this is for those of you that do not have a beverage package. I will say that. Because, as you know, Frank, or maybe you don't, maybe you're a new subscriber, and if you're new to this channel and you're not already subscribed, what do they have to do, Frank? They have to click that subscribe button.
Absolutely. And takes less than a millisecond.
And ring that little bell, because then you will get notifications of when our next video is out. But what I was saying is that if you do not have a drink package, it is more cost effective for you to purchase a bottle of wine.
Absolutely.
And they will put it in their wine cellar.
And mark it,
They'll cork it, mark it, and they'll be there no matter what restaurant you're at.
And they're going to say, you know, you say, you're going to drink any more? And you're going to say, no, I think we're done. And they're going to say, okay, we'll hold it for you, cabin number, and they'll mark it, and it'll go. And when you're in the dining room the next night or wherever you might be, and, you know, I like to get, you know, cabin number, blah, 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 I have a bottle of wine, absolutely.
And I would say, too, this is bonus tip.
Ding, ding.
Bonus cruise mistake is not bringing a bottle of wine with you if you're allowed to.
Right.
You need to check with your cruise line that you're traveling to see what's allowable. But for the most part, most of the major lines allow you to bring a bottle of wine on.
Also, I want to add another little tip.
It's a money-saving tip.
Is to know your status in terms of your tier level. Because you'll have earned a lot of perks, and a bottle of wine or champagne free might be part of that level status that you have achieved.
And on occasion, they allow you to exchange. So I remember a time where we received champagne, and
we don't do champagne. Who says that?
Or I'm just saying, for example, we didn't get it wasn't a bottle of champagne. They gave us a bottle of dark Merlot.
Oh yeah, we're not red wine drinkers. We're not red wine drinkers.
Except for that one, which was really good.
I
liked it.
Yeah.
But anyways, we exchanged that in favor for our favorite Woodbridge.
Yes, Woodbridge. It was a blush. Yeah, which is really good. We took one home with us this last cruise.
Next on our list is a huge cruise mistake.
Oh no.
And it is probably the biggest mistake I feel like new cruisers.
Yes, and it's explore other food venues.
Well, it's not exploring other food venues. They have to explore.
But I think that when people go on, let's say, their first cruise, I think they have it in their head that it's all about the buffet. Because people,
or their main dining room.
Free food, all you can eat, the food is included. And with that phrase of the food is included, all you can eat, the next word that usually pops up in someone's head is buffet. So don't restrict yourself just to the buffet or just to the giant main dining room. The ships have all sorts of other food venues. And if you don't have a dining package, we always suggest what? At least spring for
one specialty meal. Right?
Yeah, one. Just pick one, whether it's Italian or French or a steakhouse or whatever. Treat yourself. You're on a cruise.
But I will say, too, that a lot of people are very shy about asking.
Tell the story.
Is this a free venue?
Right.
That's all you have to ask, because people often miss out. These ships are making it more commonplace to have smaller, more intimate venues that are free and included, in addition to their
the giant dining
specialty dining or giant dining rooms. So you simply have to ask, and I don't know what story you want me to tell.
Oh, I know. We talk about it, but
we talk too much.
It never, you know, you just got to tell the story about that couple that just stayed in their cabin entire cruise and ordered room service, and they got home and they said, you know, I don't know what the big hoopla is about going on a cruise. It was so boring to eat in our cabin, you know, morning, noon, and night, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, eating in the cabin. I don't know if I'd go on a cruise again. And you were like,
Are you kidding me?
What do you mean you were? What do you mean you were eating in your cabin all day, all night? I don't understand. And they're like, well,
There was only a little menu.
it was just a little menu. It didn't have much on it, and so the food was so simple and boring and repetitive. And then you ask the question, but didn't you go to any of the wonderful restaurants? And the answer was, what restaurants? And then you were like, all the restaurants that are aboard the ship, like the main free dining rooms, the specialty restaurants, the buffet, a million places to eat. There were restaurants on board?
They basically had no clue that there were restaurants because, from what I understand, they were on a smaller ship. They were on a ship that we were on before, but they didn't bother to ask me when I was doing their hair any questions about anything.
You know, tips?
They were, do you remember when we were on the Jade and we had that little hallway off?
Yes.
So they were on that little private hallway off the Oceans. So the only things that they saw on the ship was the atrium, Oceans, and their cabin, because they thought that was their neighborhood. They had to stay within it. They had this conception.
Wow.
And they also thought that Oceans they had to pay for.
And they're thinking, I'm not paying. I paid enough for this cruise.
And if they had just gone and said...
You would have gone down the list. You would have said, we have already been on that ship. Let me fill you in. I'm sure Frank even has a form I could send you of all the free restaurants, the specialties you can pay for, and any place you can get food, drinks, bars, entertainment. And they never asked, and they ate in their room all week.
It's crazy.
Off of a service.
Which brings me to a point that knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, and sharing information is always very important amongst the cruise community because things change all the time.
Oh, God, yes.
So if you're not already part of Frank's Cruise Chat,
that's right, on Facebook,
you need to find it. You need to go there. You need to be part of it, and please participate.
That's right. Go to Facebook, type in Cruise Chat, click to join. We'll get you in the room. There are thousands of cruisers in there who have traveled on every cruise line, and some who have joined, maybe like you, have never cruised before and want to ask the questions. It is a safe place, no judgment. Ask the question. There is no question that is too silly or stupid to ask, because if you've never been on a cruise, you just don't know. And that's why I created Cruise Chat.
Next on our list is not booking reservations in advance. It's a big mistake not to book reservations in advance.
It really is. We harp on this.
I know, and the bigger these ships get, the more important it is. So depending on the size of the ship that you're sailing, but I tend to say everybody should book as much as they can in advance. It makes your experience 10 times more, 100 times more pleasurable.
Right. And you can, reservations may open up between, 90 days to 120 days. And that is also, which is depending on your status.
It depends on your status, and it depends on the cruise line that you're sailing.
Check that out and find out what applies to you. Because let's say you're traveling on Cruise Line A, and you have a low status. You may have to wait the 120 days before sailing, but somebody on a higher status may get their reservations opened up 90 days. Am I saying that right? I think I'm reversing, but it was earlier than you. How about that? Yeah.
So some things that you will probably be able to book ahead of time would be dinners, theater shows, drinks packages, dining packages, internet packages, excursions. I mean,
excursions.
They
get downloaded, and if you don't jump on those excursions,
sometimes
they get filled up and disappear, and they add more every day. But then you reach a point where it gets less and less because they're being filled up. Don't hesitate if you see something you like.
And the next thing is very important to your budget when you get home from the cruise, and that's a big mistake, not paying attention to your cell phone.
The infamous cell phone.
You should know ahead of time whether or not you're going to be able to use your cell phone when you're abroad or away. Is it going to be free? Is there going to be a charge? Do I need to get a package?
Right.
Like Dave and Darlene, they're with a company we have here, Verizon. I'm sure they're nationwide, and with their cell phones, they can't use them when they're traveling to some of these countries. So they get a cruise package, which is they inform the cell phone company that they're going to be on a cruise, and these are the dates. And if they use their phone on that day, it costs them $10, which is fine. I mean, they're prepared,
Right.
and they do everything they need to do in that day,
Plan
or
ahead.
whatever. I know with us, we're with T-Mobile, and well, I'm with T-Mobile. Frank's with TracFone, and
I'm a nobody.
with my phone, I can use my phone in 120 countries for free, but I always go online ahead. Prior to cruising, and find out if those stops that we're making are included in the package, because it changes. A lot of things change all the time. Life is always changing.
It's
doesn't
forever
it seem?
changing, I know. And if you're watching a video, and we've had comments of, well, I watched this video and that's not true, and they changed this and they changed that, we immediately look and say, oh, absolutely. Everything in the cruising community is constantly evolving and changing, and you do realize that you were watching a video from 2017, 2 years ago. Always look at the date of the video, no matter what
It's down here someplace.
no matter what YouTube channel you're watching. If it's not us or could be anybody else, any YouTube, check the date that it went live and was published, because if it's an old video, things may have changed, no matter what the subject matter is.
And finally, this is probably the biggest mistake I think people make. Whether they're a seasoned traveler or a first-time cruiser. And that is not establishing a budget.
Yeah.
You need to have a budget for maybe what you're going to do on the ship. You need a budget for when you're in port. I know we're going to have a video coming out in the near future. Or I don't know, I shouldn't say near future, because some people think that's like tomorrow. But we have a video coming out in the future. It's going to be revisiting our travel binder and our travel forms. And we always have set up a budget that we are going to spend this much in each port.
Right.
And you can modify
absolutely.
what's
Again,
going
things
where, but that's
change,
our budget.
But yeah, we know what we spent for the cruise, and the cruise is paid. But in terms of establishing a budget for transportation, for casino money, for souvenirs in port, or again, if you don't have a dining package, or
I was
what
going
are
to
you
say it could be dining.
Could be dining.
It could be liquor.
Exactly. You're like, I don't have the liquor package. I don't have the dining package. But I think we're going to plan for a specialty dinner. I usually say, I usually have 2 drinks during the day. You say so. If you don't have the drink package, you estimate how much we're going to spend.
I estimate how much we're going to spend. So I usually might have a cocktail before dinner, and then I have a glass of wine with dinner. So I know that I'm having those 2 drinks, and maybe, just maybe, I was out on deck in the afternoon, lounging in the sun, and I had my cocktail, so I won't get that cocktail later, because we have that strict budget.
Life is about choices, people.
Right.
So yeah, kind of establish exactly how much, and we're not saying carry the pad and the pen, like I do, and record everything, but have an idea in your head so that you don't end up on disembarkation day when that bill arrives and you thought you were really, really good, but it turns out you have a $10,000 bill.
And speaking of choices, we hope that you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat if you are on those platforms, because that's a good choice to make.
Absolutely. Good point.
But until next time, we want to remind you to always
travel safe
and cruise often.